Hey folks, this is Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be UFC 102 early predictions. Let's start out with Randy Couture versus Rodrigo Nogueira. Mir showed the perfect plan for beating Nogueira. Basically, you stand up, punch him, don't go in for the kill until you really see that he's hurt. That fact will not be lost on Randy Couture, which we all know. Randy's a great strategy guy, so what I see happening, I don't see, this is going to be an odd fight because I don't see Randy clinching with him. I don't see Randy ground and pounding him unless he's going to finish it, because he's going to try to avoid the submissions of Nogueira. And the only way I see Randy clinching or taking it to the ground is in the last few seconds of the round to win points. I see Randy stopping Nogueira somewhere in the second or third round. I don't see it happening in the first. And I also don't see Randy clinching with Nogueira because Nogueira is not a guy that I've really, he seems to have second, third, and fourth life, so I don't see Randy trying to gas him out. I don't think Nogueira's that kind of guy. I think he has to knock him out. So, let's see if I talk about okay, and Nogueira. I don't really believe Nogueira has the skills to take Randy Couture down if he wants to. And if he does get Randy Couture down, I'm not convinced he can keep Randy down. So this is sort of going to be a strange fight because I don't think Randy's going to do some of the normal things that he does. Use the stand-up to get the clinch to take somebody down. He's actually going to want to be on his feet. So this is going to be a little odd for Randy. And in my opinion, Randy's going to be a favorite in this fight. So that's another odd thing. So Randy typically does real well when he's an underdog, so I don't know. Maybe he won't do as well since he's, I expect him to win. Okay, let me make sure I've got everything. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Randy is 46, Nogueira is 33. As usual, Randy's going to be the old dog in the fight, and he's going to be 13 years younger than or older than Nogueira, so I don't see it being a factor. Randy still looks pretty good, and it's still Randy Couture. So both men are great human beings. I hope the better man wins. I'm just not for sure who it is because both of them, like I say, both are great guys. Nogueira has about a 10 to 20 pound weight advantage, which shouldn't be too much. So it could be a factor, but I don't really see it being a factor since Randy looked pretty good against Brock Lesnar, and he weighs 265. I would give Randy Couture a 60% chance of winning. I'd give Nogueira a 40% chance of winning. I tell you what I'd like to see Randy do is I'd like to see Randy move down to 205 and go for the title and fight Machida or something like that, because I think Randy could give Machida a tough battle. Anyway, next fight, Keith Jardine versus Thiago Silva. I see Thiago KOing Keith in the first round. Thiago whipped Houston Alexander, which is obviously a very tough guy, and Keith Jardine is showed to have a hard time with really aggressive, powerful guys like Houston Alexander, and I think Thiago Alves is going to be that kind of guy. So I really see Keith getting knocked out in the first round. I think Thiago is hungrier than Keith. Keith's a really tough guy, but he's never been like a fan favorite of mine. It's just like, it's Keith Jardine. Yeah, he's pretty good. Trains with Jackson. Them. I think Keith needs to take this fight to the ground to have a chance of winning. I would give, in my opinion, this fight's a done deal for me. I think Thiago's got it whipped. I mean, if you think otherwise, leave a comment. Give me some reasons why I should be, shouldn't be discounting Keith. I would give Thiago a 70% chance of winning and Keith a 30. I don't see it being. It's a done deal in my mind, but maybe it's not for you, so let me know. Chris Levin versus Jake Rosenthal. I see Jake taking Levin to the ground and laying on him for 3 rounds and winning a decision. Because Jake's the great wrestler of some sort. I don't remember where he's a great wrestler from, but I know he's a great wrestler. I'm not convinced Levin's going to be able to keep him from taking him down. He'll lay on him. And I see it being a very boring fight, one of those lay on him fights, so... Next fight, Nate Marquardt versus Damian Maia. I cannot see Damian Maia winning this fight on the feet. If he stands on the feet, it's going to be a long, painful night for him. However, Damian Maia is amazing at jiu-jitsu, and he's amazing at getting guys down and already having a strategy from the moment he takes them down, planned out the armbar from that point, from the standing point. So I see Damian Maia submitting Nate Marquardt in the first round. And if he doesn't submit him in the first round, it may be a very long, like I say, a very long night for Damian Maia. Let's see. I tell you what, I would like to see I'd like to see Damian Maia fight. If he loses or wins, I'd still like to see him fight that Husamara Paul Harris. That's that Brazilian who's just absolutely like super powerful jiu-jitsu. Can't remember who he was he fought, but he took the guy from a rear naked choke to a arm bar and just like, I mean, he just threw him around like a rag doll and just arm barred him and like lickety split. So that would be a real interesting MMA jiu-jitsu fight between him and Damian Maia. So I would love to see it. And I would like to see him fight Nate Marquardt, because I'm not convinced Nate Marquardt could keep him from submitting him. And I'm not convinced Nate's more powerful than this guy, because he looks real powerful. This is probably the most exciting fight on the card, because I don't really know who's going to win. I'm more interested to see who wins this, to see the setup for the next fight. You know, who's going to fight Anderson Silva other than Forrest Griffin. I would give Damian Maia a 55% chance of winning. I would give Marquardt a 45% chance of winning. Next fight, Brandon Vera versus Krzysztof Sozinski. This is going to be an interesting fight. I think both of them are evenly matched. Should be a war. I don't really, you know, Brandon's never really lived up to the hype, in my opinion. And Krzysztof is really, I mean, I didn't really have a lot of, you know, I didn't really like the guy at first, or I didn't dislike him. Just I wasn't on the bandwagon with him. But I can't remember who he fought in the last fight, but he did a real good job on him. I was like, wow, okay, this guy's maybe, you know, more of a contender than I expected. So I think this is going to be a tough fight for both guys, and both guys need to win. Well, they don't need to win, but I think both guys want to win. I see it being a great war. I think it's going to be one of the better fights of the night. I think it's going to, I give 50-50 odds. I have no idea who's going to win that one. Okay, and as usual, I'd like to leave you with a little fighting wisdom. Confucius said, "He who conquers himself is the greatest warrior." And I heard Boss Rutan, I just seen an interview. Boss Rutan was interviewing Fedor, and he asked Fedor what percentage did he think that the mental aspect plays in a fight. And Fedor said 100%, and Boss Rutan agreed 100%, because basically, you know, this arm doesn't move if the mind doesn't tell it to move. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I think Confucius nailed it, you know, on the head. So, anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy the fight, and I'll talk to you later.